Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this Signal Innovation Showcase. Our next speaker is Dr. Srinivas Gukal, Chief Product Officer for Acavio Technologies. So please welcome him to the podium.
Yeah. Thank you, George. Okay, so the next 20 minutes I'll spend on advanced cyber deception and why we think it's the future of cyber defense. So before I go into the actual cyber deception, so what is deception? What is advanced deception? So this is from earlier this year in the war that's going on, Ukraine and Russia. Both sides were coming out. I mean, I'm teaching to the converted here, preaching to the converted. So this one, both of them came up with decoy tanks. But it has become more advanced now. So just putting a couple of tanks, yeah, they're good, but they're not going to deceive much. So they had signatures, the heat signatures and the radar signatures. And they even have moving turrets to show that these are real. I mean, if you just put some decoys, that's not sufficient. They have to look like real ones, they have to behave like real ones. It's like in the what they say about the ducks, right? I mean, it may look like a duck, but it should still quack like a duck and swim like a duck. Otherwise, no one is going to believe it's a duck. And that's where the deception is going, the cyber deception. Okay. So cyber deception gives us several advantages. One of the biggest advantages, you can introduce new things into the network. So going back to this, the duck analogy, what if the hunter is looking for something else, like maybe turkeys? Or can you put like 100 ducks? Can you put 100,000 ducks? So it becomes pretty tough in the real world, but in the cyber world, it becomes very simple because it's all make-believe. So we can create any number of these fake things across a network. So essentially what we are doing is we are changing the landscape. So when an attacker enters into your IT network, the attacker has no clue what the actual network looks like. The attacker has to go and look around, has to figure out what is sitting in the network before they can go in and do some actual damage. And that's where the deception comes in, where we can go and change the landscape and also gives attackers a opportunity to move around. So if you look at the existing security software, Gartner terms them as reactive security. So essentially, whichever security software that you look at, they're looking at the actual logs, something that's happening against real things, whether it's a real data items or real machines or applications. They're looking at real network traffic. So something has happened, and they're trying to figure out what is different. So either through fingerprinting or doing a baseline analysis and seeing what is different. So Gartner terms them as reactive, whereas deception, it's preemptive because we can introduce things. So for example, if you're here for the previous CrowdStrike session, and actually that's a really great session for me to follow up. And CrowdStrike, we're a very good partner of CrowdStrike. We show up in CrowdStrike store. We work very well with CrowdStrike. So there are many ways in which attackers are entering the network. So you can harden your perimeter defenses. You can put additional things in your security. So this is like saying, do more of the same. Right? So it's like, yeah, hug your spouse a couple of times more. Okay, so doing more of the same is not going to help. Yeah, it helps, it's required, but it's not sufficient. So you need to come up with additional ways of protecting your network, and that's where the deception comes into picture. Okay, so advanced cyber deception, it has a few characteristics. The first one is it has to be comprehensive. So if you look at the enterprise now, when we go to customers, 90+% of our customers have not just hybrid networks, but multi-cloud networks. So when you put deception, the deception has to go across on-premises and cloud, all clouds. And that's what, in fact, the CrowdStrike presentation was looking at. where attackers are now compromising the credentials in the cloud to go to the cloud control plane and launch attacks. It has to be enterprise scale. So if you put a few decoys here and there, I mean, almost everyone here must have heard of honeypots. Honeypots have been there for more than a quarter century. But they don't scale. I mean, can you put like 100,000 honeypots? How do you manage them? Who keeps them up to date? So these are all the things that come with the old honeypot technology. So it has to be scalable, and it has to be dynamic. So things have to keep changing. Like, for example, the thing I was telling, it doesn't just has to look like a duck, but it has to do something so that people think it's a duck. So when you put these decoys and this deception across your network, there are things that you need to do to keep them up to date. And the last one is, at this scale, you cannot do manually. It's just about impossible. And you just heard from CrowdStrike on how the attackers are using AI to come up with very, very specific attacks. And the defenders have to use AI to come up with deception at scale. And that's what we are doing. So when we look at the deception palette, it's not just decoys. I mean, old-time honeypots used to be servers and workstations. Now we can create honeypots out of every IP addressable target. I mean, these are not just servers, applications, databases, switches, routers, printers, cameras, whatever you can think of. So some of these, like for example, printers, they are domain joined, and you cannot put an EDR agent on the domain join and on a printer. But still, that can be used as a vector by the attackers to go and compromise the machines. So when we put the deception, it has to be enterprise-wide and at enterprise scale. And it also goes across OT. For example, we went to a very big bank where we deployed deception. And what we found was every building in that bank has an OT setup. They have automation to manage their elevators, air conditioning. Everything is managed by a separate network. But if an attacker compromises the OT side, they can easily pivot into the IT side. So you need to protect both of them. And that's where the deception comes into picture, where you need to provide detection across the board. And once we have this, we need to have additional deception so that people believe it's a duck. So what we do is we go and put what we call as honey tokens across the board. And this is in whatever place the attackers are looking for stealing things. So for example, last time we looked, there are more than 40 places where a credential is cached on a endpoint. So these are the places where attackers go and steal credentials. So this is not just the operating system, but this is the browser, almost every application. This is just to make your life easy. And also the credentials are being stolen all the time. So I'll come over in a couple of minutes to the credentials slide. But this is the place where we need to put fake credentials across the board. And baits, so things keep getting stolen all the time. I mean, the documents, and the attacks have grown into, they don't bring tools anymore. It's living off the land and living off the cloud kind of attacks. So they're using what is sitting there. A simple example, like our CEO, he has never run an Nmap on his laptop, ever. So if someone runs an Nmap from his laptop, then there's a problem. So what we do is we can go and create a bait. We can take a living off the land attack tools and put a small layer of our code around it so that when it's run, it shows different results. Or it raises an alert, things like that. So we have to put this deception across the board. And 5 years ago, Gartner wouldn't even talk to us. Okay, I mean, our company is about 10 years old by August this year, and Gartner wouldn't talk to us. And in the last 2 years, Gartner started including deception in almost everything. Like, deception is a technology. So almost every solution has a use case for deception. And Gartner analysts these days reach out to us for presentations. We have almost every week a presentation with some Gartner analyst or other. And this is just in the last 1 year, what we have seen. So let me skip this slide because I mean everyone knows this. They're constantly evolving threats. So this is what Gartner published earlier this year. So Gen AI, that's becoming more and more of a problem. Google published a paper late last year where they used AI to come up with a 0-day, first time ever. And this is like the famous 4-minute mile. The first one crosses a mile in 4 minutes, and there are 20 guys behind him crossing the 4-minute, the mile in less than 4 minutes. This is exactly what's going to happen. There'll be 0 days discovered left and right once we know that this can be done. And on the other hand, UIUC, there's a research team that published a paper where they took CVE vulnerabilities, just a description, and fed it to the Gen AI tool, GPT 3.5, if I remember correctly. And it was able to generate the compromises automatically for about 85%. So it's very, very quick. You don't need to be an expert to do these things. Anyone can do this now. And these are AI agents, so these can go and automatically try and figure out and see which one succeeds. So Gartner has been working on this for the last 1 year, and they've come up with a recommendation, the Gartner research team, what they call as preemptive cybersecurity, and they come with 4 different things to be part of the preemptive cybersecurity, and one of them is cyber deception, and that's the highlight. I mean, you can read that. And in fact, they highlighted Acalvio as a technology innovator earlier this year. There was a paper on that. So this is a deception use case. So this is a very simple example. So the first compromise, point of compromise, is just a question of time. It's going to happen sooner or later. And once the attacker comes in, the attacker has to move to a destination to steal data or documents. And the attacker might use a set of, I mean, there are 2 wide, broad things that the attacker will do. Run compromise against vulnerabilities or steal credentials, one of the 2. So what we do is, at every point, provide alternatives. At every point where the attacker is trying to move around or compromise credentials, at every place we provide opportunities. And if the attacker touches something, one of our things, we raise an alert. So this is by NSA. This is available in public domain. This NSA with the 5 eyes intelligence agencies looked at the Active Directory attacks. They analyzed some 17 attacks. And the conclusion is, if you want detection, you have to use deception for the detection. Okay. So identity deception, as you heard from CrowdStrike, identity deception has become really big because that has become the only, I mean, more or less the only way for attackers now to enter into the enterprise and move around. And identities, they can be stolen from a variety of places. Active Directory is one place which the NSA was looking at, but also the Cloud IAM directories. This is the same case. And the endpoints, as I said, there are many places where identities are cached on the endpoints. And so, for example, even if you have MFA, once you authenticate yourself, for a certain period of time, it's cached. You're not forced to authenticate multiple times. And if you look at many of the other things, for example, machine accounts, service accounts, local admin, they don't have MFA enabled. So these are the places where the attackers can steal credentials from the endpoints. And cloud, there are many places in the cloud services where these secrets are leaked. And all these places are very easy for the attacker to compromise. CI/CD pipelines, your code repositories, Kubernetes clusters, anything you can think of, there are secrets there. So what we do is, we go and put honey tokens across the board in identity. Any place where attackers are looking for identities, our honey tokens sit there. And they look realistic. So for example, in AWS, if you have a compute instance, there's an associated service account. And the service account tells you what things you can do. So what we do is, we create a honey role and attach it to this service account. So if an attacker compromises a compute instance, attacker sees that he has access to this database, the real database. But we stop if someone tries to assume role, we stop it and raise an alert. So we do this across the board, enterprise-wide, on-premises and in cloud and in identity repositories. And a couple more things. One of the important use cases that Gartner is looking at is something they call automated moving target defense. And for automated moving target defense, the environment needs to keep changing. So it should not be static. So I'll come to that slide in a little bit. But one of the key elements for this is just-in-time decoys. So that's actually a screenshot from our UI. So what happens is we create a decoy. It doesn't have anything. It just has a IP address and a MAC. So if someone is trying to see if a particular port is open, it can automatically assume that role. And then the defender can even go and dynamically replace that with a real service and see what happens. So this is a just-in-time decoys. And we also have a very interesting concept called perception changing baits. So these are the things that we put on the endpoint, like the tool I was talking about, which can return results, which shows like not the real results but fake results, which changes the perception. So one of the other interesting things that we are also looking at is, so all along when we put this deception, this decoys, our goal has been, how do you make this real? So as I was saying, like a duck, how do you make it quack like a duck? But if you go to the other way, if it's a real duck, how do you make it not look like a duck, so that it's not part of the attack sequence, so someone doesn't target it? So how do you make the real look fake? So that's another area where we have some capabilities. So this is the automated moving target defense. And Gartner is pushing heavily on this. And there are several capabilities in the deception where we support this AMTD. So for example, we can have multiple layers of deception. So each one changing independently. Or we can have the dynamic endpoint deception, the deception that we deploy on the endpoints, the honey tokens, they're not static. We deploy some honey tokens today. 1 week from now, they change slightly. So if there is a file decoy bait, then we change the timestamp. If something is in the memory, we update it. So all these things keep changing all the time so that they look realistic, and they keep changing with the environment. And of course, zero trust maturity is something that, okay. This again, Gartner now is pushing heavily for deception as part of the zero trust. So we fall under the visibility and analytics. So there's a whole bunch of things that we can do across the other pillars on the zero trust. So this is our product roadmap. So we have a centralized service. We don't have any agents. We have the ability to project deception across the board. So even if you have 10,000 of these decoys or honeypots, we don't need any resources from you. It's all, we have a patented technology where we can project it. And we go and protect IT, OT, and across the cloud and identity. And OT, Honeywell actually resells our solution under their brand. It's called Honeywell Threat Defense Platform, powered by Calvio. So that's the value proposition. So if you have any questions, please feel free. I think we have a couple of minutes. Sorry. So the question was, do we have a separate sensor for each endpoint? Yes? No, we don't have a separate sensor. In fact, we don't even have an agent sitting there. We have integrations with almost every EDR vendor, Microsoft Defender or CrowdStrike, and through their agent, each of these EDR agents, they have the capability of running a script, and we'll leverage that capability to run a script of ours which deploys this endpoint deceptions. So you don't see any additional agent from us. Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gukal, and thank you all for being here with us. Please join us again in 10 minutes. Our next session involves quantum, cyber, and AI, all in one presentation. So come back and see us.